What level?
Hi, everyone. So this is Trish Alexander, and I actually happen to be at Shop Task. So I've got skates behind me, brand new skates behind me. And today's class is on how to buy skates. So what you want to look for, I'm not going to go over specific brands or models that you should go over, but I am going to give you a really good idea about how to be a great consumer and what you're looking for from the wheels to the cuff. So first thing I'm going to start off with is the wheels, and I'll just grab a pair of skates. So you have some choices in the skates you're buying, and the assumption here is that you are a newer skater. Okay, so if you've been skating for a really long time, you might find a couple of things in here that are helpful, but for the most part, I believe that you want to be more of a beginner skater, and for this particular video. So skates come in basically 3 different sizes now, 4-wheeled skates, 3-wheeled skates, and 5-wheeled skates. 5 wheels have come back. And so the wheels that you're looking for when you're buying a pair of skates is you want to make sure that they roll very nicely. All right, so cheaper skates like the ones you get on Amazon or something, they don't tend to roll very well. So any non-brand name skate doesn't really have wheels that roll because they don't want you to hurt yourself. So the 3 main brands that we're looking at on the skates that we have today are Seba and K2 and Rollerblade in no particular order. All 3 of those companies offer a very nice skate, entry-level skate. I want to mention something about price. So on any pair of skates that you're buying for, if you're going to use them a dozen times a year or more, you should be looking at about $180 as the lowest price on there. And, you know, it can go up quite a bit, but somewhere between $180 and about $275 to $300 will get you a very good skate. And there's a very big difference between a $100 skate, a $180 skate, or like a $300 skate. So hopefully by the end of this video, you will have a good sense of why that is. So I'm not going to talk about types of wheels today, but just make sure when you're buying skates that the wheels roll very nicely. And then I want to talk about the frame. So the frame is really what matters. I'm going to hold this one. So this is my Rollerblade Maxims, and it came with a 4x90 frame, and I took it into Shop Task, and Brian adapted it for me because I wanted to get a really good solid 3-wheeled skate, and I like the way the Maxims fit. So the reason that I went for this is that we don't have really great skate trails out here, and I wanted something that would go over everything really nicely. Now, if you're a brand new skater, I recommend a size 90 wheel for you to start off with for trail skating. If you're going into just learning how to skate, then that's going to be, so the phone rings here for orders. The 80 to 84 size wheels are really great to learn, like brand new. And then once you start getting better, you can go to the larger wheels. Yes, you can buy 90s to start off with, but you won't have as much control in them as you do with an 80 or an 84 millimeter wheel. And I'm talking about the size of the wheel. These are, I think, 110s. Yeah, these are 110s. And, you know, these wheels, they light up. So the frame is a pretty basic frame. What's really great about the skates that are made today that, you know, wasn't the same about 10 to 20 years ago is that the frame actually will shift left and right. And you might be able to tell on this one, but I've got the frame shifted over quite a bit because I want to be hitting my outside edges, which are the key edges for skating. So having a frame that shifts left and right is a really key component. And a $100 skate, they're not going to do. They're going to just be hammered into place. So you really want to make sure you buy a skate that has a movable frame back and forth. And also this one, because it did come off, it could be replaced. So that was a really great feature for me. And then I'm just going to mention about the brakes on the skates. So there's all sorts of ways to stop, but T-stopping and things like that, they tend to wear your wheels down pretty well. And so for me, it's just easier to have a brake on. Also, I'm teaching a lot. So I'm like stopping with students quite a bit, but I live in Seattle where we have a lot of hills, and I really appreciate just having a heel brake so that I can slow myself down on hills or, actually be able to stop all the way. And I'm not having to replace my skates very often. If you listen to my skate maintenance video, you'll know that I hate switching out my wheels. So, so that's one kind of frame. I'll mention the other kind of frame is like, this is the Wizard frame. So designed by Leon Basin, and it's a 5-wheel frame, and it's like 72 or 76 millimeter wheels, like really small wheels. And this is also a rockered frame. So the other one was pure flat, and this one is a rockered frame. Same as my Igor's. The frame itself is rockered, and or you can rocker your wheels to make them a little more maneuverable. So yeah, the length of the frame will matter, whether or not you can switch skates and things like that. Just one little thing about the brake housing. If you buy a pair of skates that has a brake on it, go ahead and buy 1 to 2 extra brake pads. There's a wear line that's listed on here, and it'll tell you when to replace it, but you never have one handy when you need one. So just always recommend you just buying a couple, and those run about $5 to $10 for a set of 1 or 2. So easily done. All right, let's talk about laces, buckles, how it moves up into the skate. So on this one, I've got these great laces, really like them. They're wax laces, so then they tighten up really nicely. And then I've got just a quick release buckle that's on these skates. But the feature I wanted to show you is that it's really hard for me to buy a skate anymore that doesn't have some form of a power strap. Really like this, the ability to tuck my foot in. And it might be something for women, because when we buy men's skates, a lot of times we can't get our foot back into the cup, the heel cup enough. So always be looking for a really solid, well-designed, well-constructed power strap of some sort. So that's one. This, my Seba Igor's have one that ratchets in. So I can just tighten this up really easily. And then I just press down on it, and it's a quick release buckle. So I really like that power strap in there. And in my Maxims, what is really great is I took the laces out. Like this nice plastic boot, plastic cup here, it's not going anywhere, and I don't need it. And so I'm actually in and out of these in 2 steps, just one buckle up here, and then my trusty power strap that I really like. So actually Brian recommended that I not deal with the laces, and I took him up on it. So there are a couple other types of lacing that are done. Looking for a boa. Do you have a boa on the wall?
Yeah, the 2 in the middle, the blue and the red. Right.
Oh, right here. Okay.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. So I just want to mention about this boa, because talk about easy. So you can just ratchet this in to tighten it up, and then you just press the button and it will release it out. So rather than having to lace, you just open the skate up, and then you just dial in the boa to get it to the desired tightness that you want. So it's a really nice thing. And Rollerblade used to have one as well. It was a bit like a lawnmower, I used to call it, which I really like, so you could tighten up stuff as well. So the goal is that you're trying to create a fit in there. So let me just talk about that fit for a sec. So I'm going to take the Alexa. This is the K2 Alexa Boa. So one of the big differences between a low quality skate and a high quality skate is how well it fits the foot across the top. So K2's motto is really all about this slip fit and like a really comfortable fit. And that works, right? Especially when people are buying skates for the first time, it's a really great fit. But what you'll see in a lot of the cheaper skates is this boot itself is overly big, so that your foot is spinning around on the inside. And that doesn't work for skating. So the difference between skating and walking is that when we walk, our foot goes down, our foot stretches out, and we have to buy our shoes a little bit longer. But in skating, we want to buy our skates to fit all the way to the end. So theoretically, you're learning to skate on an edge, and then you push out. When you do that, you need this foot to stay in here really in a very solid movement and not to be moving around at all. So if you were trying to skate with a pair of Crocs on and you went to an edge, your foot or your foot would be rotating around in there. So whatever skates you buy, make sure that it's a super tight fit across the top. You'll get that in your hard shell skates, and these ones you'll have to really lace them, nice and tight, get them nice and tight down there. Use effectively that power strap. You're trying to keep the foot in place at all times, because the motion of skating is you hit an outside edge, you glide on it, when you get better, when you glide on it, and then you roll to an inside edge, and then that becomes the push. And that whole movement that's in there, your foot has to stay locked down to have all the control that you need. So you really want to make sure your foot fits in the skate really well, and that you're buying a skate that takes you, almost to the tip of the skates. Again, not like walking where the foot flattens out while it's skating. To that end, one of the things that we like to do in the skates is to take out the manufacturer insole that's inside the skate and put in one that has a little bit more features that will fit your foot better. So for some people, they pronate or they supinate, so they might need some posting that's put on here. They might have their own orthotics in here. The Superfeet is a really good value packed option in there. It's got a nice hard heel cup in here and will help you like fill a little volume in the skate a bit. Like this is a really thin one, so it's not going to fill a lot. You can actually get a Superfeet that's bigger. I wear a Bayo brand one because it has a particular bump that's in here that helps my skating because of the way my foot fits. So you're looking for the kind of orthotic that maybe your doctor's recommended for you, but do plan on buying an extra set of these and putting them in the skate for a better fit. And the ones, the higher end manufacturers like Seba and K2 and Rollerblade put in there, it's quite a good one actually. So this is just something to try, and it will take your foot fit for it itself, it'll take it up a bit of a notch. So this one's Superfeet. We really like it. We've been using this one for a really long time. So the idea on the skate that you're trying to buy is buy one that has, wheels that roll freely. That means that you've got good bearings and good spacers in there, that you've got a frame that's movable so you can match it to the way that your body is. And then get some, with the laces and the buckles or the BOA system, however it is that you're using it, that you can really tighten that skate up nice and tight, and that you're buying it to fit the volume of your foot, because people have different size volumes of feet. So K2 might be a more narrow fit, Rollerblade might be a wider fit. It just depends upon the model. It's not really brand specific on there. Let's see, make sure. Okay. Also what I wanted to say is that, if you can go to a skate shop to get fit for your insole, because what you're trying to match is the rise of your arch of your foot in there. You don't actually buy this because it's your size. You actually buy it to fit in there, and then they can carve down some of the top of it to get it to fit in there properly. So you're really looking for a custom fit. And a good little tip is that REI, if you bring your skates in to REI's, because there's more of them than there are skate shops, they also can find a really good footbed for you and help you fit that into your skate. At least the one in Seattle used to do it for us all the time. Okay, so next thing I want to talk about is hard shell versus soft shell skate, soft fit skate. And K2 is pretty much the one that has the fit that works best with their soft boot design. And I remember when it came out, because everything started out with the TRS Lightning and the heavy moon boot, as it were. And it was pretty much a revelation. I really, really appreciate it. What I will say is that you have to be very careful with how much you weigh as to whether or not a soft boot's going to really work. Some of those can get kind of mushy, so you want to make sure that there's some structure to the skate. I personally have gone to nothing but a hard shell skate because I'm really working on getting those edges and moving it through, and I'm not a petite person, right? So I'm really pushing my equipment to the limit, and whether it is putting in miles or dancing on my skates, or if I'm doing slalom, I'm putting an awful lot of pressure on everything. So the hard shell boot is very much is the Rollerblade has the, you know, the typical hard shell boot. And then what I've done with theirs is I actually had this Intuition liner put into it. So it comes with its own liner and it worked fine. But when I tried on this Intuition liner, I couldn't believe how much more comfortable it was and for a longer period of time. So that's something else that you can play around with in the fit. The Intuition liners run, about $200 and will extend the longevity of the skate for you for sure. But the hard shell skates. So when I was talking to you about this fit up here, you just really want to make sure that your foot fits in there nicely and that it's not wiggling around. And it might be early on when you get your skates that you're wearing a very thin sock, and then as the padding on the inside pads down in some of the brands, then you can just start wearing a thicker sock or even 2 pairs of socks. And so the whole goal of the game is to make sure that the skate fits, which is why it's so great to have a skate shop near you and be able to get that in there so tight so you can start to hit those outside edges and just cruising along. Lovely. All right. Okay. The last thing I want to say is about women's versus men's skates. So in my Igors and in my Wizards, they only come in basically a unisex size is what they call it. Now, Seba has since come out with some female specific skates, and I haven't had a chance to try those on, but there's a little extra space in here, but I filled it with my insole. That, you know, it's one of the reasons why I got the insole in there. And it's a super tight fit. They even have a little strap that's down at the bottom, so I can tighten that one up. One of the big differences for women versus men is the calf size. And so I think that's one of the things K2 just did a really great job in addressing, is that if you have a fairly large calf, and women's calves are lower than men's, getting a women's specific boot's probably going to make a big difference for you. So they have a shorter, their skates are shorter at the top so that your calf isn't continually rubbing in there. Okay, so I talked about K2 rollerblade and Seba skates, and they also have a low end model on all of their skates. Well, Seba doesn't have a low end, but rollerblade and K2 both have low ends. If you're watching this video and if you're taking classes, please, please, please spend no less than $180 on a good pair of skates. And I don't mean ones where they say that they cost 180 bucks and they're selling them for 100. I mean, get some really feature rich skates, because if you have a really good quality of skate, then you're going to really enjoy your skate. So I know that ShopTask is closed currently, but they are doing online orders, and I'm sure Brian can work with you on getting some fit issues. If you have questions or a reason to ask me for another video or anything like that, please put it in the chat bar and I will respond. Thanks for watching.